All right, so we're going to start on number 11 by taking this and changing it. Oh, hello. Where am I at? I'll hit the eraser. 1 over 36 to the 3/2 power. All right, so moving it down to the denominator because of a negative exponent. Then, this is the same thing as 1 over square root of 36 to the 3rd power. So then, this is 1 over, what's the square root of 36? It's 6. 6 to the 3rd power is going to be 216. So 1 over 216 is going to be there. Now this is the same thing as saying the 3rd root of 343. So just take care of that. Do that one on your own. Number 14, why not? This is 1 over the, 625 to the 5/4 power, which means it's 1 over the 4th root of 625 to the 5th power. So that means it's 1 over, the 4th root of 625 is 5. And we have to do 5 to the 5th power. Luckily, I have my chart here, or a calculator, and that's 1 over 3,125. And that's going to be the correct answer to number 14. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we have some decimal exponents here. Don't let these freak you out. Now, 1.5. It's the same thing as 1 and 5/10. Well, if I'm converting that over to an improper fraction, 1 times 10 is 10 plus 5 is 15. So it'd be 15 over 10. And if I simplify that, I end up getting divide by 5, 3/2. So this is the exact same thing as 49 to the 3/2 power. Okay, that's all you really have to do first. After that, is converting it. So square root of 49 to the 3rd power. So then this would be 7 to the 3rd power, which is going to be 343. So now that you know how to convert 1.5 to 3/2, you should be fine here. Some of you might just know off the top of your head that 0.5 is the same thing as 1/2. If you do, then this is the same thing as the square root of 9, which is 3. And then let's take care of 19, like that number. So this is the same thing as the 3rd root of 64. We're taking that to the 5th power. So the 3rd root of 64 is 4. 4 to the 5th power is going to be 256. All right, on the second page here, we have to worry about simplifying some of these, and some of these are pretty gnarly. So I'm going to try and work as hard as I can on these. So that 2 is just going to hang out in front. Just like on this one, 4 times 4 would be 16. So that's why I start, just multiplying those. Then I deal with the variables and the exponents. So this would be this would be 2 plus 4/3. When they're being multiplied like this, not a power of power, you add the exponents. So that 2v is going to stay there, and then 2 over 1. So I need to multiply this by 3 over 3. So it would be 6/3 plus 4/3. And so this would be 2v to the 10/3. Nothing you can do about that. No simplifying. After that, you're done. Now over here, we would have b to the 4 plus 5/4. So it's 4 over 1. So then I'm going to multiply by 4, multiply by 4 to get the common denominator. So it's still going to be 16b, but now it's going to be 16/4 plus 5/4. So it's going to be 16b to the 21, because 16 plus 5 is 21/4. And there's that. Now over here, once again, we have to deal with the 4 times 4 is 16. But now I have 3/2 plus 7/4. Okay, so the p stays there. But now I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 2. And what I really have here is 6/4 plus 7/4. Now they have the same denominator. So that means I have 13/4. 6 plus 7 is 13. The 4 stays. And that's what we get. All right, now down here, I have, this one's going to get a little bit messy. 3 times 4 is 12. So there's 12. But now with these variables, I can still add them. That's fine. It's not going to be messy at all. It'll be x to the negative 1/4. That looks gross. Hang on. Negative 1/4 and it's plus 1. Now 1 is a fraction, is 1 over 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it by 4 over 4. When you do that, you end up just getting 4 over 4. So now this is the same thing as 12x to the 3/4 power. No fractional exponents in the denominator. We're good. All right, these are powers of powers. So we have to take these exponents when they're powers of powers and multiply them. So it's going to be to the -4/3 times -5/3, or sorry, -5/4. And we don't have to get a common denominator because we're multiplying. So it's going to be a positive 20 over 12. And I would say stop there, but these can be simplified. They're both divisible by 4. So it's going to be v to the 5/3. And there's that. Now, the next one, it's -5/4 times -3. So it's b this time. I have -5/4 times -3/1. So it's going to be positive, which is great. It's kind of what we need. We get 15/4. And now that one's done. These are going to be a little bit more difficult because we're going to end up with a negative exponent and then have to worry about that. Maybe, but we'll be okay. Anyway, powers of power, so it's going to be 4 times -3/4. Now, 4 as a fraction is 4/1, so this is the same thing as b to the -12/4. So this is the same thing as b to the -3rd when you divide, and then we're going to rewrite this as 1 over b to the 3rd. Now, since there's no fractional exponent, we're good. Done with that one. Not as bad as we thought. Now, this next one is x to the, no worries about fractions, 2 times -2 is -4. So this would be 1 over x to the 4th. And that's it. We're done. All right, just had a good yawn. Should be ready to go here. Now, these are fractions, all right? So we're dividing now. 3 divided by 3, those 3's just go away. Now, what you really have here, since we're dividing these two, is a to the, we take the first number up top, the first fraction, 5/3, minus 1/2. All right, so when you're dividing, we subtract the exponents. I know it's tough to understand, but that's okay. So I need to get common denominators here. They both go into 6. I'm going to multiply this first fraction by 2 over 2, get 10/6. This next fraction, it's still subtraction, multiply by 3 over 3, and I get 3/6. Okay, now we're going to subtract 10 minus 3 is 7. Keep the denominator. So a to the 7/6 is going to be what we need right there. Now, number 33, the 4 is going to stay there. So as weird as it is, there's a 4 there. Now, I still have to deal with the b. So this would be b to the 3/2 minus 2. Now, 2 is a fraction, it's 2 over 1. We have to multiply that by 2 over 2. So it's technically b to the 3/2 minus 4/2. Now, what is 3 minus 4? That is -1. Keep the 2 there. So since this would actually be b to the -1/2 power, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put b to the 1/2 power down here, and that takes care of the negative exponent. Okay, so technically, now let me move this real quick. Technically what we have here is this. I have 1 over 4, and if I want to rewrite that as a radical, it'd be the square root of b. Can't have that. So we have to rationalize that by multiplying by root b over root b. Now, if you don't like dealing with that, we could always realize, well, that's 1/2. All right? We could take this b to the 1/2 and multiply it by b to the 1/2 over 1/2, or b to the 1/2. That would give me b to the 1/2 power over 4b, because 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. That's going to be my answer, but you might like it better this way. So root b over 4b. All right, ladies and gentlemen, combining a lot of powers here. First, this is a power of a power. So 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 4 is 16. So it starts off, this turns into x to the 5/16 power. It's still going to be multiplied by x to the 1/2 and y to the 4/3, which is okay. We're just going to work with it now. This y to the 4/3 is going to stay there because there's no other y. But I have to work with these. Now the x's would be x to the 5/16 plus 1/2. So I'm going to multiply this by 8 over 8 to get that 16 as the denominator. So what you really have here is x to the 5/16 plus 8/16. So our end answer down here, along with the y to the 4/3, is going to be x to the 13/16, right there. And that's how we want that answer written. Perfect. Now, we're going to, hang on. I'm going to try a couple more problems on here. How about number 37? So, we're going to multiply those two together, here and here. Wait, I'm writing, right? Can you see this? Oh, it's an eraser. Okay, now. We have to multiply those two. So 3 times 3, negative times negative is a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. So that's my numerator right there. This would be x to the negative 3/2 and y squared. So we know our answer is going to have a y squared down here in the bottom. It's got to have it. Cold stone, got to have it. Now our numerator, though, we have to take these and we have to subtract them. So we have x to the 9/4 minus negative 3/2. So since we're subtracting a negative, we're actually adding a positive. So it'd be 9/4 plus, but we're going to have to get a common denominator. So I'm going to take the second fraction and multiply it by 2/2. I get plus 6/4. So this would be x to the 15/4 over y squared. And that's what we have for that one. I really considered doing 39 for the last problem because it's easier, but no, I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this one. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, besides changing the colors, is I'm going to go ahead and worry about my coefficients. Those 3's go away. So I know my final answer is going to have a 2 down here somewhere. I'm just going to leave that there for a bit, just hanging out. And first thing I'm going to do is on my denominator, I have an x here and x there. I'm going to go ahead and start worrying about those. So this would be x to the negative 4/3 plus negative 1/4. I'm not even worried about my numerator yet, just the denominator. Now these need a common denominator. They both go into 12. So I'm going to multiply by 3/3 and then 4/4. And so I actually have negative 16/12 minus, because adding a negative, 3/12. So since we're subtracting, that's going to end up being x to the negative 19/12. And that's still on the bottom. So x to the negative 19/12 goes right there. Then I'm going to worry about my y's. Haven't had to in the past, but here they are. This would be y to the negative 1/3, and we have to add negative 1/2. Now, once these both go into 6, so multiply by 3/3, by 2/2, like Noah's Ark. I get y to the, this would be negative 2/6 minus 3/6. This would be y to the negative 5/6 when you get the common denominator there. Now, my numerator is still going to be x to the 5/3 and y to the 1/3. We still haven't figured that out yet, but now we're good to go. Now, one thing you can notice is that 2 is going to be there. But since these are negative exponents in the denominator, they're basically going to come up here and be added to those. So all we really have to do, let's do with the x first. X, it'll be 5/3 minus negative 19/12. So that means you're adding. We have to multiply this by 4/4. So I actually have x to the 20/12 plus 19/12. So this will be x to the 39/12, which is an ugly fraction, but hey, it happens. We're here. And last but not least, my y's. I have y to the 1/3 minus negative 5/6, which is adding a positive. So I'm going to multiply this first fraction by 2/2. You have y to the 2/6 plus 5/6, which would be y to the 7/6. So this should be our correct answer. Thank you very much for listening.